What's going on, guys? The Barber Phil here, back again with another haircut tutorial, and in today's cut we will be doing a high taper on this fro. We're not going to touch the top at all. The only thing that we might touch as far as removing some of the curls from the top, it's actually more in the back where the taper in the neck area meets the actual curls up top. We're going to debulk that just a little bit. So we're going to come straight in here using the FXs, and what I like to do when I do these high tapers, I'll take the FXs, I'll invert them over, and I'm going to tap that line in, and I'm going to set it from the bottom of the vertical bar on the front of her line up there at a downward angle to the top of the round of the ear. That's usually the guidelines that I go for. So it's the bottom of the vertical bar at an angle over to the top of the ear. Obviously that can change if somebody's vertical bar is not that big, or that can obviously change, but that's generally where I like to start at. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking the FXs, folding the ear down. I'm really just doing a rough draft around the ear, getting some of this bulk removed. I'm leaving this side here on the left in real time so that you guys can really see the motions and the steps in real time. What I like to do also, take the comb like I'm doing here, really over direct that hair past the line. Use just the corners of your blade, and it's literally like you're just using the last few teeth on your FX blade or whatever trimmer you decide to use, and really cleaning that line up, because you can pinpoint the hair that you want to take out and not really risk using the full length of the blade for a round surface, because that definitely could get you into some trouble. Obviously a straight blade does not do very well when you're wanting to round something. You have to use just the corners and really scoop it through there. And then we'll get back into it in a little bit later, really take that line all the way down the back and then clean it up a little bit more. I just wanted to go ahead and get this in here, give me kind of an idea of where that roundabout is going to come out in that front taper area. Now to actually go ahead and start removing the hair and start the taper out, I use my Slimline Pro LIs. I flick out that initial FX section, that way my trimmer lines are completely gone. Now I can come in with a closed clipper and take out that bottom trimmer line. So we'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to use my metal magic clip. This is the Wahl premium guards that I'm going to use here. This is a closed 3 guard, and then I actually follow it up by using a 2 guard. So I probably could have just skipped the 3 guard. It didn't do as much as I needed it to do or wanted it to do as far as removing hair. So lesson learned. Actually, whenever I turned around and did the right side, I did skip the 3 guard because it was just kind of a wasted step. Use your comb. Make sure that you comb that hair back down into place after a few strokes or after a section is done there, so that you can see what you're working with. This is the 2 guard closed. We're just kind of flicking up into that weight. We don't want to go up into it too much because we don't want to take all that hair off. We want to leave those curls so that when she curls it, it kind of sits there a little bit. We're going to move on down, continuing to fade down. This is the Wahl Premium 1.5 guard. I've got it halfway closed, and then I just close it all the way up. What we're doing is continuing to work out that darker spot through here. Here in a second, we'll use the Wahl Premium 1 guard. Same thing. We'll start with it. Actually, with her hair texture, usually I start with the clip or the guard open. I actually started with most of these guards halfway open and then all the way closed, because it wasn't really feeding through with the senior very well with them all the way open. So I kind of use most of them either halfway closed or all the way closed. That was the 1 guard. Now here we took it off. We're using just an open blade, just kind of gliding it through there. We're creating about a half or so inch section of open section there with the no blade or no guard open blade. Closed it up halfway, and then we'll close it up all the way. That'll take us down all the way through that initial FX and then Slimline section at the bottom. And then what I'm going to do here in a second, as you can tell, it's still a little bit dark there. I'm going to use my cordless senior modified with the Andes Master Blade, and I'm actually going to use the 1 guard. I have a ceramic cutting blade on this senior, and so we're going to use this 1 guard. I really wanted to lighten this area that I'm working on now up just a little bit, and leave the front line dark enough that we can put obviously a sharp line on it, but I didn't want to leave this line through here too harsh. So we're going to work on that, kind of using just the corners of our blade, pinpointing dark areas, and then from there we'll get back with the FXs and go ahead and knock this back line out. as you guys can tell, even though it looked kind of sharp, once you take that comb and you really over direct the hair back past the line, you can still see quite a few hairs that could be hit, and actually clean this lined up even more. Fold that ear down, still using just the corners of your blade, just the last few teeth basically. Work it through there. Then once you get down to an area where you can use the full length of the blade, you can go ahead and use that. Set that line in there. That way you've got a nice straight line down the neck. Clean that out, and then I actually take a Wahl Premium 1.5 guard and I kind of scoop it through and around that line up around the ear, just to lighten it up a little bit and eliminate the risk of more hair falling over that line and making it, you know, not as clean anymore. Now as far as the back goes, guys, it's the same step. I'm kind of going to let this the back ride a little bit, and I didn't even put in the right side on this haircut. I wanted you to see the left side in real time, and then the back is a nice really clear, but I do have it sped up a tad bit. But it's the same steps. The only thing I do different is right here, I take a 3 guard down with the growth of the hair just to remove those curls a little bit, so it's not such a harsh separation between the back taper below it and the curls up top. It's still long enough to curl with the curl sponge, but it's not like a huge shelf laying there. So that's what we did. We did a 2 guard or a 3 guard, and then followed it up with a 2 guard. Flick that 2 guard up into the weight a little bit, and then from there, same exact steps with this back taper. So I'm going to let it ride for a minute. Guys, if you're enjoying this tutorial so far, or if you've picked up anything, I've mentioned anything that helps you, go ahead, hit me up in that comment section. Let me know. That way I can make sure that that's more things that I'm looking to get into these videos, things that you guys are looking to hear, steps, tips, anything like that that you guys are liking to hear. Leave me a comment. Let me know. I'll make sure that I work that in there. So we're working our way through here. This is the 1.5 guard, and then we're going to go straight into our open section from there. You can see that I'm really just flicking through there. I'm not really working this guard, the blade distinctly slow or anything like that. Like, we're flicking it through there kind of softly. Now I've closed it up halfway. We're working our way down just a little bit. I'm going to close it up all the way, and that's of course going to take out that initial FX and Slimline section that we always set our guidelines in with. From here, I do believe that I switched back over to the Cordless Senior modified with the Andy's Master Blade, and there's something about that area in between the open section and that 1.5. It just doesn't seem like the 1 guard with the Wahl Premium set was getting it done with her hair texture. This is actually the 2 guard. I had her tilt her head forward some. That allows this clipper to really glide through here at a nice angle. But even with the closed 2 guard, it was still darker than I wanted it to be. So we're going to come in. This is the 1 guard. We're going to really pinpoint that area above the open section, and then that kind of connects into that Wahl Premium 1.5 guard. Here I'm using just the corners of an open blade. There's some dark areas that we were hitting. But finally, eventually, after making sure that we combed through there quite a bit, using that the 1 guard there, it got to where I was happy with where we're sitting at. I know that whenever I use the curl sponge, we're going to be able to still see the taper. It's going to be nice and blurry, but those curls are going to be sitting up there nice as well. Same as this on the other side, we use that 1.5 guard, just scooping it around the ear. It leaves it dark so that there's a nice distinction between the taper in the front and the taper in the back, but we don't have to worry about hair falling over that line. Here we're going to use some sweet Jamila's. It's a cream, I guess, if you will. It's got a little bit of a hold to it, but it's a real nourishing to the hair. We're going to use the curl sponge. I sped this up quite a bit. I use a 2-sided curl sponge. I've got one side that really lifts the hair, and then now this side has the holes or the pockets. It's going to grab those curls, really set them in there. Now for the front lineup, this is where I wanted you guys to hang around to. As you guys can tell, her lineup's a little light. She's got plenty of hair there for a lineup, but it's a little light in between the hair and then obviously above it. I used the face shield, hairspray, baby brush now to lock all this hair down into place. We're going to use our FXs, of course. Start in the middle, work our way out to the left side, and then we'll go back to the middle, work our way to the right side, and we'll start messing with the corners and the vertical bars. And then from here, this is a nice lineup. We could have left it as is, you know, but we want to take our haircuts to the next level. We want to really let her walk out of here with a nice sharp lineup. That's what she came in here for. So, you know, you could leave it just like this. That's fine. If you don't want to do enhancements, perfectly fine. More power to you. But I want my lineups to leave my chair looking extra crispy, not just, you know, not just done. I want them extra crispy. So we're gonna hit these corners, make sure we get that vertical bar nice, and then we're gonna grab our 245 no drip, the Onyx Black, and then our Sean Cuts Hair Color Enhancement card. I'm using that 90-degree corner for her vertical bar in the front. Now we're gonna flip it around, use that flat edge to darken this front line, work it through there. I don't want to go below where I use the trimmers, because then we'll have to come in there and clean it up even more. All I want to do is darken up the area above the lineup. That makes the lineup itself crispy, and then above it darker, which makes the line pop even more. So that's what we're doing again on this right side, or her left side, using the corner, getting that vertical bar nice and enhanced a little bit. Yep. And then using that top line, because it's a nice straight edge, darken everything else up. And as you guys can tell in a second when we're done, the lineup was fine as it is, or as it sit, just normal with the trimmers, but it's even better now. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anybody. I don't care what you say. This lineup looks better now than it did before the enhancements. Hands down, period. You know, if you don't like enhancements, you don't like them, whatever. But you're not going to tell me that this lineup doesn't look crispier than it did before. You know, it is what it is. Sorry to disappoint. Use the FX shaver just to get some of that hair on the forehead cleaned up, and then we're going to use our exposed blade razor. Stretch the skin, hold the razor at a 45-degree angle. Bring that. I'm really just going to do it on the side vertical bars. I didn't even do it to the top because I was happy with the way it looked. So we're just going to enhance with the razor here, just the vertical bars. And that's about it, guys. This is it for this tutorial. This is a high taper, a nice sharp lineup with enhancements. Guys, take a second, hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this haircut. If there's anything that you would have done different. As always, guys, like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. Consider subscribing if you're new. Enable those notifications and you'll never miss another haircut from me. I made sure I paused it right here in the middle so you can see how crispy this lineup was. Got her nice and boxed up. She is happy and on her way. And until the next video, guys, I appreciate it.